My 32-year-old female, husband, 30-year-old male, and I have been together for 10 years. We have 2 children, an 8-year-old girl, ours, and an 11-year-old boy, mine from a previous relationship. He's never been super active in our kids' lives, but he has always shown up when it counts. These last few weeks, he has started being more distant. He has been playing video games on his computer more often, from the time he gets home from work until 1 a.m. most days. We had a weekend of parades and events in town that the kids and I wanted to go to. He says the last parade on Sunday was the one he thought we were planning to go to, so we skipped all the others and planned to all go to that one. Sunday rolls around. About 2 hours before we have to leave, he turns on his computer saying he needs to do something real quick. 45 minutes before the parade starts, we are getting ready to leave. This is when he decides he is going to just stay home. The kids and I went and had a great time together and got lots of beads, toys, candy, and other things thrown out to the crowd. The kids didn't seem to show they had any care that it was just the 3 of us. That following week, he wanted to start a server to be able to have for himself and others to play on. It cost $80 to get started. I got paid in 3 days and told him he could wait until then to pay for it, but that I wasn't taking money out of our savings to do so. He turns around and calls his mom to borrow the money. When I found out about it 2 days later and asked where he got the money, he told me. My mother-in-law and I have a somewhat strained relationship, and money has always been an issue. My husband knows how I feel about this. I told him it would have been nice if he would have talked to me about it before asking his mom for money. He tries to tell me he thought he did, then smirks because he knows for a fact he never did. He was trying to make me second-guess myself. This was also on Valentine's Day. Neither the kids nor I received anything from him for it, but his server got paid. But I didn't make a big deal about it and just wanted to move on. That following weekend, our daughter had an art fair showcasing her artwork. She was super excited about going and seeing what she did. He was up until 3 to 4 a.m. the night before playing his game once again. The next morning, he refused to wake up the 4 times I tried. He finally woke up and started moving around as we were about to have to leave. He decided at that point that he was just going to stay home. My daughter didn't seem to mind, but my heart just broke. So the kids and I left without him. We went to her art fair and saw that she painted a beautiful picture. I was very proud of her, and she was so excited to see it up on the wall as well. We went to the activity room. I colored a picture, and she and my son colored and made other crafts. My daughter then says to me, "I'm kind of glad Dad didn't come. You're more fun when he's not around, and he's always so grumpy and rushes us." As if my heart wasn't hurt enough, it took all I had to not cry. Afterwards, we went and got donuts from our favorite place downtown to celebrate her accomplishment, something my husband wouldn't have been happy to do or done. We got home after about 3 hours, and there he is on his computer. He can tell I'm upset and asked what's wrong. I told him it was sad that he couldn't take 3 hours out of his day to make his daughter feel special and show up for her, and that when he wakes up one day alone and the kids go no contact with him, to not be so surprised, and that he only has himself to blame. He laughed and said whatever and went back to playing. So am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Honey, you need to wake up. Your daughter told you without saying it outright. She's not happy, and she knows you're not. You need to leave. The guy doesn't care, and the fact that you just accepted him laughing and not caring says he thinks you have no backbone, and so do your kids. If it's your house, hand him divorce papers and an eviction notice, or if it's his or both, pack up you and the kids and go stay with family until the divorce and split assets are sorted. Comment 2. Not the idiot. But it's hard to believe you typed all that out, up to and including the whatever, while laughing at you, and asked if you're the AH. He's completely checked out, to the point that your daughter knows and is already happier when he's not around to mess things up with his selfishness and piss-poor attitude. You should work on that him waking up alone thing as soon as possible. Now, for the update. Hey Reddit, back with an update on the situation with my husband and his recent behavior. It's been a roller coaster, and I've got some news to share. First off, let me fill you in on a bit of history that I didn't mention before. My husband has always had a bit of a competitive streak, especially when it comes to gaming. It's something that he's been passionate about since before we met. I've always known this about him, but it never really interfered with our family life until recently. So, 3 days ago, I decided to confront him about everything that's been going on. I waited until the kids were in bed, and I sat him down for a serious talk. I told him how his actions were affecting the kids and me, and how it felt like he was choosing his gaming over us. He was defensive at first, saying that he needed time to unwind after work and that I was overreacting. But then, something unexpected happened. He broke down. He admitted that he's been feeling overwhelmed at work and that gaming has been his escape. He said he didn't realize how much it was hurting us and that he was sorry. It was a moment I didn't see coming, and it made me see things from a different perspective. We talked for hours, and we came to a compromise. He agreed to set specific times for gaming, making sure it wouldn't interfere with family time. He also promised to be more present during the weekends and to help out more with the kids. The next day, he surprised us all. He came home from work early and suggested we all go out for dinner. It was a simple gesture, but it meant the world to us. The kids were thrilled, and we had a great time together. It felt like we were reconnecting as a family. But then, the following day, things took a turn. I found out that he had secretly taken money out of our savings account to upgrade his gaming setup. I was furious. It felt like all the progress we had made was for nothing. I confronted him about it, and we had a huge fight. It was loud, and the kids could hear us arguing. I was worried about the impact it was having on them. In the heat of the moment, I told him that if he couldn't stick to our agreement, then maybe we needed to rethink our relationship. It was a tough thing to say, but I felt like I had to stand my ground. The next day, he came to me with a proposal. He said he would sell his new gaming equipment and put the money back into our savings. He admitted that he had messed up and that he was willing to do whatever it took to make things right. I was shocked. I didn't think he would be willing to give up something he cared about so much. We sat down with the kids and explained that we had been having some disagreements, but that we were working through them. Our son, who's usually quiet about these things, spoke up. He told us that he just wanted us to be happy and to spend time together as a family. It was a wake-up call for both of us. So, here we are now. My husband has been sticking to the compromise we made. He's been more involved with the kids, and we've been spending quality time together. It's not perfect, and we still have our moments, but it feels like we're on the right track. My dad's mistress obsesses over my adopted baby and makes scenes, but when she posts a pic without my okay, I cut her out, and now she's begging while I ignore dad's calls and protect my kid. 2 to 3 years ago, when I was 24 years old, my father cheated on my mom with a person who knew he was married but didn't care. My brothers and I have little contact with our father, and if it was up to us, we wouldn't have any contact at all. Unfortunately, we still see him and his affair partner girlfriend at family gatherings. About a year ago, I adopted a baby from one of my neighbors. She is a woman with a drug addiction who has had more than 10 children. She gave away half of her children, and some of them are even in jail for abuse and violence. My grandmother usually helps her with food and other things. When she had the baby, she used to leave him at my grandmother's house for days, and I took care of him since he was 1 week old. I am currently in the process of legally adopting him because his mother told me that she doesn't want him since she's pregnant again. It's a sad and sensitive topic in the family, but we all love my baby. My father's affair partner has a 5-year-old son. Don't worry, I'm certain he's not my father's son. The child has a father. She is extremely jealous that my whole family loves my son. She often makes weird comments about him or brings up the topic of his biological mother, and she doesn't even acknowledge that I am his mother. We are all kind to her son because he is just an innocent child. My baby even plays with him. However, she always looks for opportunities to make passive-aggressive comments or tries to insert herself into family plans. My siblings always make it clear that she is not invited to anything. Yesterday, we were celebrating my grandmother's birthday, and my father's affair partner insisted on having a picture taken with her youngest grandson, my baby. She brought her son along for the photo. We all felt uncomfortable, but my grandmother agreed to take the picture with the child to avoid making him feel bad. Later, when the kids were playing in another room, my grandmother told the affair partner that her son is not her grandson and that she shouldn't make him believe that. The affair partner became defensive and argued that my baby is not part of the family either. She claimed that her son is like a son to my father now, so her son has more rights than my baby. I got angry and told her to shut up and that, unlike her, I am a part of the family, so my baby is family too. No matter how hard she tries, she will never be a part of the family because everyone sees her as just my father's affair partner until he gets bored. The family only invites her out of kindness so that my father stops causing trouble, so she should just keep her mouth shut. She started crying, and my father yelled at me and my grandmother. Now I feel bad because my grandmother and my father are angry with each other. It took a long time for my grandmother to want to see him again after the affair happened, because my mother is like a second daughter to her. They started talking again after my grandpa had health issues. P.S. I am not from an English-speaking country, so I apologize for any grammatical errors. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. She can't help break a family and then get upset she isn't part of it. Good for you acknowledging you'd cut your dad off too if you could. His AP deserves the hate for what she helped do to your family. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You weren't wrong. You're adopting your son, so he's part of the family. The AP's son is only included in family things until your dad moves on to another woman. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a month since my last post, and wow, a lot has happened. I never expected things to escalate the way they did, but here we are. So let's start with my father's affair partner. Remember how she was always making snide remarks about my baby? Well, things got even worse. At a recent family dinner, she tried to one-up me by announcing that she and my father were thinking about having a baby of their own. The room went silent. My brothers exchanged looks that screamed, "Not again." We all remembered the chaos when she first entered our lives, her disregard for my mom's feelings, and the rift it caused. But let's rewind a bit. My father, despite his faults, had always been a charismatic man. He was the one who taught me how to ride a bike, the one who would take us on surprise trips. It was hard to reconcile those memories with the man who tore our family apart. And now, his affair partner was trying to weave herself even tighter into the fabric of our family. Back to the dinner, my grandmother, bless her heart, tried to change the subject. She started talking about the garden she's been tending to for years, the same garden where my mother found solace after the affair. But the affair partner wouldn't let it go. She kept pushing, saying how her son needed a sibling and how my baby would have a playmate. That's when my youngest brother, who's always been the hot-headed one, lost it. He reminded her that my baby was already part of the family and didn't need her approval. The tension was thick, and I could see my father getting uncomfortable, probably remembering the days when he and my mother would host these dinners without any drama. Now, let's talk about my baby. He's been growing so fast, and every day with him is a blessing. His biological mother, the neighbor with the drug problem, hasn't shown any interest in him since I started the adoption process. It's a stark contrast to the affair partner, who seems obsessed with proving her place in the family. The next day after the dinner, I took my baby to the park, the same park where I used to play as a child. I ran into my father there alone. He tried to apologize for the dinner, saying he didn't expect things to get out of hand. I reminded him of the time he missed my school play because he was with her, and how that was the beginning of us losing respect for him. He looked down, unable to meet my eyes. Fast forward to last week, and things reached a boiling point. My father's affair partner posted a picture on social media of her, my father, and my baby, calling it a family photo. My phone blew up with messages from relatives who were confused and angry. My mother, who's been my rock, called me in tears. It was like the affair was being thrown in her face all over again. I confronted my father about it, and he had the audacity to say that it was just a picture and that I was overreacting. I reminded him of the years of hurt he caused, the birthdays he missed, and the lies he told. I told him that a picture might be just a picture, but to us, it was a reminder of all the pain. The final straw came yesterday. My father's affair partner showed up at my house uninvited, trying to smooth things over. She started talking about family forgiveness and how we should all move on. I couldn't believe her nerve. I told her that forgiveness is earned, not demanded, and that she had done nothing to earn ours. She left in a huff, and I haven't heard from her since. My father has been trying to call me, but I've been ignoring his calls. I need time to process everything and focus on my baby, who's the real innocent party in all of this. My boyfriend uses me to get over his ex-wife, but when he tries to claim my business, I dump him, and his daughter tells me the truth about his downward spiral after. Brian, 40-year-old, and I, 38-year-old, initiated a relationship after months of flirting. I was super into him. I liked him a lot, and I felt like I was getting a real partner. Things started to change after we had intimacy. I felt taken for granted and like he had moved me down his list of priorities. This took me a hot minute to process because I had feelings for him. He also has a daughter that I care about, 18-year-old, and I didn't want to lose that relationship. I'm a business owner in the innovation space and have been very active with a group in my area. I suspect that Brian got close to me for what he could get out of it, rather than wanting a real connection. He has a very dark relationship with his ex-wife. He claims that she has made his life miserable because she still wants him. However, the news that she has a steady relationship hit him hard last week, and he went crazy. He said insulting things about her new guy. They've been divorced for at least 5 years. I asked if he knew him, and he didn't even know his name. I had been telling him that I don't enjoy his jokes. He's gone from nice and loving to saying degrading things, and honestly, I've asked him if he's listening to a red pill podcast or what. I'm confused about these new trends, incel, red pill, alphas, etc., and I don't know how to assimilate. All I know is that we have an income gap and that he doesn't have the tools to improve things for himself. I used to be very open to dating men who aren't necessarily successful, but now I'm getting really nervous since I suspect many men are trying to use women. My company just signed an agreement with a very high-profile corporation, and it was announced. Ever since that happened, he's been calling it our company. I've told him he can't say that as it's very misleading, and he laughs and says he's only kidding. 2 weeks ago, we had a very long conversation about his changes in personality, the way he treats the relationship, and how I feel about it. He begged for a second chance and seemed to be really trying. Fast forward to last night. We were out with his friends when he drove us around the industrial complex where I'm establishing my new office, still painting and getting it ready. I thought he just wanted to see the aircrafts, and there is a small local airport close by, but he pointed at the side of the complex where my space is located, and his friends enthusiastically asked questions. I tried to hold back, but it made me very angry. I don't need to have my career showcased for anyone's benefit. We stopped for ribs and drinks, and he referred to the company as ours. I immediately asked, "What company?" And this time he was hesitant, but still answered. I lost my shoot and told him off and immediately set the record straight. His friends looked embarrassed and confused while he tried to calm me down. I dumped him right there and rejected their offer to take me home. This morning, I woke up feeling embarrassed. I feel like I made a scene. I have no intention of going back to him or making up, but I don't know if I overdid it by chastising him. About me. I built this company from scratch, with lots of trial and errors, because I needed more formal education in my field, which I did get with lots of sacrifice. About him, he has a regular job, but he's very unhappy. He has tried to create companies on a string of failures. I really hate him, and I'm fed up. But his friend's girlfriend reached out to apologize if she and her boyfriend did something wrong and said Brian was humiliated and took it really hard. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. When you dumped him, Did his relationship with your company change? Did he lose an office, title, ownership stake, or paycheck? If not, you didn't overreact. You very clearly asked him to stop pretending he was part of your company. I bet you paid for the ribs too? He hit the jackpot. A confident and successful partner who buys him ribs. He blew it big time. Comment 2. She said Brian was humiliated and took it really hard. Yeah, I'm sure he was humiliated in front of his friends, but that's his own fault. Clearly, he was trying to take credit for your work and had been showboating to his friends about how you two had a company when in reality, it was yours. You are not the idiot here. Don't feel bad about how you handled it. Now for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post, and I've got quite the update for you all. After the whole mess with Brian claiming my company as ours, I thought I'd seen the last of his antics. But boy, was I wrong. You see, Brian's daughter, who I've grown quite fond of, reached out to me. She was upset about our breakup, not because she wanted us back together, but because she was worried about her dad's behavior. She confided in me that Brian had been spiraling since his ex-wife found someone new, and she feared he was using me as a distraction. Now, I've always had a soft spot for her. She's a bright kid, about to head off to college, and I didn't want to just cut her off because of her dad's mistakes, so I agreed to meet her for coffee, just to talk. What I didn't expect was for Brian to show up, looking like a lost puppy, begging for forgiveness. He admitted that he'd been listening to some pretty toxic podcasts and let his insecurities get the best of him. He said he realized how much he'd hurt me and was willing to do anything to make it right. I was skeptical, but I couldn't deny that a part of me still cared for him. That's when the juicy compromise came into play. Brian proposed that he would seek counseling to work on his issues and would stop making any claims to my business. In return, I would consider slowly rebuilding our relationship, but strictly on a friendship level for now. He agreed, and it seemed like a fair deal. But just when I thought things might be settling down, another surprise hit me. My company's new partnership with the high-profile corporation was going great. But then I found out that Brian had been bragging to his friends about how he had connections at my company. This was the last straw for me. I confronted him, and it turned into a full-blown argument in front of his friends. I was furious, and in the heat of the moment, I ended things with Brian right then and there. His friends were shocked, and Brian was trying to play it off. But I wasn't having any of it. I stormed off, leaving him to deal with the embarrassment. The next morning, I woke up feeling a mix of anger and embarrassment. I wondered if I had overreacted, but deep down, I knew I had to stand up for myself. My company was my blood, sweat, and tears, and I wasn't going to let anyone, especially Brian, take that away from me. Despite the drama, I've been focusing on my business, and it's been thriving. I've learned a lot about who to trust and how to protect what I've built. As for Brian, he's started his counseling, and I've heard from his daughter that he's making progress. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm keeping my guard up. I've also been reflecting on my own journey. I remember the days when I was struggling to get my business off the ground, the long nights and the setbacks. It's been a tough road, but I'm proud of where I am today. Brian's friend's girlfriend reached out to me, apologizing for any role they might have played in the situation. She mentioned that Brian was really taking the breakup hard. I appreciated her reaching out, but I knew I had to stay firm in my decision. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.